How does that work? I mean, how does the finger work? That's amazing. When I was a substitute teacher, I don't know how many years ago that was. All I taught was third grade, and that in the Bowie Elementary School, I knew every third grade student by name. I did that much, and that's how I got them to be quiet every morning. So, you are third grade student level. Well done, well done. Hey, we're in the book of Hosea. Are you there? Hosea. This is what we've been studying, going through the minor prophets. Some of the things that we're going to be talking about today may be a little overlap of what we talked about with Amos. That's absolutely fine. But Hosea is 14 chapters, and you guys read it, right? You guys reading? Hosea? You listen to it? That is absolutely wonderful. In the car, when you do it? Oh, wow. That was crunch time. Good job. That's how I do pretty much everything I do in my life is crunch time. Yeah. So when we come to our class, I kind of expect you to already read that, right? Because I can't go through now, like chapter 4 through 14 is what we're going to be covering. We cover chapters 1 through 3. We're not doing verse by verse. We're looking at all the minor prophets. So this is a little bit more, flying at that higher what's that word? Elevation, and I'm looking down on it. We're looking down on it. So we got to cover a lot of material. How are you? I have suitcases. Do you want them? Okay. Sorry, sidebar. You don't know what the sidebar is about, but that's okay. Hey, two things. Number one, if you guys donated suitcases, I have the blessing of dropping them off. And so I got there to the children's home. They told me to go to the Maybe building. Don't worry about it. So I got there. It was a pull through because they didn't have any place to store 89 suitcases and 350 duffel bags. That's what you guys donated, if you wanted to know. Okay, 89 suitcases, 350 duffel bags. So I pulled through into one of their shops and we lowered it. Jonathan Henley was there and he helped me unload. Then we got some boys across the way from one of the houses. They came over, helped us unload. And then multiple adults showed up at that point. And they were just blown away. We filled a corner of their entire shop that they have there. Trent, I don't even have pictures. I wish I had them. I wish I could show them. But here's one of the cool things. The boys who helped unload the suitcases got first choice. And so they walked away with some suitcases. And you know what? There was just joy there. And so I got to experience it. They're like, John, thank you so much. And I'm like, it's not me. It's you as a congregation. And so I need to pass that thanksgiving on to you. And I'll say something from the pulpit today. But you are an incredible congregation and you're making a huge impact. Because the law has changed and because one of the houses on campus there changes kids every 90 days, that's a suitcase every 90 days, right? Of how many kids they have. And if you want to know, the kids that are sitting in the back row here at this congregation, that's the kids that rotate through every 90 days. I didn't know if you knew that. You probably have noticed, I've noticed, they're not here. They're having some really hard times in that house. So will you pray for that house? They're part of this congregation, and they're just having some troubles, and so and I don't know all the logistics about that, but they'll be back soon when they can. But that is that house that, if you notice, those kids change, and so that's who's benefiting from these suitcases that we gave. Second thing I want to give you big kudos for: this class would not be as good as it is if it wasn't for your participation. You guys are great. It is not. Somebody gave me a compliment last week, and I appreciate it. It's not me, it's you. This class is so good because of how you participate. So I appreciate you. Hey, we finished last week. I asked a question. What was the question that I gave you? And you had homework. What was it? Do you remember? I said I wanted you to read Hosea and look at what the people were lacking. What were they lacking? What were they going through? And Hosea spokesman for God. He's a prophet for God, and he is just laying it out and saying, this is what you're lacking. Okay? And so we're going to look at those things that they lacked, and we're going to go dive into it. We may hop around a little bit, going through the chapters 4 all the way through chapter about 13 today. And we'll hit 14 next week because I want to talk about that a little bit later on. So in your reading, What were some of the things they were lacking that you can kind of pull out? What were they lacking? Faithfulness. Okay, give me book, chapter, verse on those for me. And the book is Hosea. You just started reading today. All right, that's good. Hey, chapter 4 and chapter 6, unbelievably good when it's talking about some of these things that they are lacking. So go ahead and read it nice and loud, Monty.
No love, no acknowledgement of God.
Good. So there's lack of faithfulness. Okay, I'm going to put lack of. Heather, I am going to use the board today. She asked me, "Can you use the board?" I'm like, I never know. Never know. But here we are. Faithfulness. Okay, you're going to have to define this. When it says faithfulness, is there one L or two L? One? That's fine. When we say lack of faithfulness, so the first verse that we're going to look at there is 4:1. I have another one in 5, and I'll show you the other ones. We'll read through them. But when we define faithfulness, what is he talking about there? And remember, it's not because they don't believe in God, right? Because even though they're doing these, what? Okay, their hearts have wandered away from God. Okay, so they're following many gods. Now that represents where they're living. So Baal worship is going to come into this, right? So there's other gods that are worshiping. They have forgotten the law, right? They're still God's people, but they've forgotten. They walked away from the law. They're still worshiping. I'm going to put that in parentheses. Worshiping, but they're not going to Jerusalem anymore. They're going to go to Bethel and they're going to go to Dan instead because they set up the golden calves there, and that's where they're going to be worshiping. Okay, that's good. I like that too, that truth. The truth is not there. They've walked away from the truth. They're creating their own truth. That doesn't happen today, right? People creating their own truths. So this is not foreign to us. What was that? Truth in what? I like that. Okay, so there's no truth, there's no mercy. They're not holding on to what God has said. Okay, faithfulness. All right, I want you to look at a couple more passages with me for the lack of faithfulness. Look at chapter 5, verse 13. Can somebody read chapter 5, verse 13? Sally, will you read 7:11? Okay, when I come there. Barry, will you read one for me? Okay, can you get me 8:5? Chapter 8, verse 5. Mr. Reed, can you do chapter 11, 5 through 7? Chapter 11, 5 through 7. Okay, give me the first one, 5:13. Yeah, well, that's interesting. What kind of lack of faithfulness is there in 5:13? Now, let me ask you this question. Who's Ephraim? Who's Ephraim? If you read all of this, you can find Ephraim all of the time. He talks about Ephraim. Once in a while, he'll throw in Israel. Once in a while, he'll throw in Judah. Why use Ephraim in the book of Hosea? Don't you have those study Bibles? Tell me. Okay, go back. We have to go back a little bit. 12 tribes, right? Kinda. Sons of Joseph, yeah. So we have Ephraim and who? You had it right on the money. Ephraim and Manasseh is sons of Joseph. So Joseph doesn't get any promised land, even though he's one of the 12. His sons get that. And Ephraim is one of those. Now, the territory that Ephraim gets is one of the places that they're going to set up a place of worship. So he's not actually talking about just the tribe of Ephraim. He's talking about the location of it. Again, We're technically worshiping God, but we're not really worshiping God. We're worshiping God through this calf. We're giving sacrifices. We're giving tenths. We're doing some festivals still, but it's not according to what God wants us to do. So Ephraim, when he's talking about that, is talking about a deeper relationship. So instead of just saying Israel and blanket it's that, he says Ephraim. Again, geographical location is important, your places of worship, and then also it's just this understanding of it's not just a blanket of Israel. I want you to know this is hurting me deeply. This goes back to the past, and this is I pulled you out of Egypt. I've given you your freedom. I've given you the promised land. Okay? So it's pulling in Exodus here. It's pulling in a lot of different things. And so when he says Ephraim, he's just really talking there about a deep, deep hurt towards God. Are we on the same page? Anybody have their different in their bottom of the Bible? No? That has some really good insights in there. Okay, so go back to chapter 5 and verse 13. What's the lack of faithfulness? Now he says you go to something. You go to Assyria. Okay, so we're looking to Assyria. This is kind of interesting because in a few years, 10 to 20 years, who's coming to take them over? Assyria, but we're going to put all of our money into Assyria. They're in the upcoming strong political, strong military, and I'm going to go find help. Where am I going to find my help? I'm going to Assyria instead of going to God, right? Okay. Anything else in that verse? I go to Assyria. I think there's something else. Yeah, so they're relying. And they're putting faith in a not a king that God chose, but a king that they chose, right? And he says, you're putting your faith in a king. And God's supposed to be that king, okay? So we see how the shift, we don't put our faith in God, we're putting our faith in other places instead of him. Okay, what was the next one? Sally, I think it's you. 7-Eleven, thank you.
So Ephraim has become like a silly dove without sense. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria.
Okay, I love what they use there. Ephraim has become a what? Silly dove. What? What's that? What? Why is the dove silly? Easily deceived and senseless. Oh, that's good. I like that. So they're being deceived, and it's not. And he said, "Look at you. Ever been compared to something, and you're like, that was a weak comparison." You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like everyone said, John, you're like a little child. You're acting like a child. Don't you love that? They're saying you're immature, you're naive, you don't know what, you don't know all of those things, and he's saying you're a silly little dove. What are you doing? Because you're putting your faith in something else. Give me the next one. Sure.
First of all, you said Barry, but you said Mr. Reed behind me. Is that age? Is that because of the age difference? Is that what that is?
You never heard this before.
It's Jeff.
It's Jeff. This is Jeff Reed. I don't. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, Mr. Odell. Will you please?
Throw out your calf idol, O Samaria. My anger burns against them. How long will they be incapable of purity?
So there's a lack of purity. There's no faith in God. Tell me the beginning of that again. I love the beginning.
Throw out your calf idol, O Samaria. My anger burns against them.
Yeah, it's like throw this out. You're worshiping. You're looking at the wrong thing. You're not looking at me, and it's not pure anymore. And the reason I don't call him Mr. Odell is that we played racquetball one time, and the whole hour and a half that we played, I got 4 points. Not games, points. So I have no respect for that man. He killed me. All right. I thought I was actually good before I walked on the court. Okay. I don't want to see him anywhere else. Mr. Reed. 11, 5 through 7.
Sword will flash in the cities. It will devour the false prophets, putting an end to their plans. My people are determined to turn from it, even though they call me God Most High. I will by no means accept.
Okay, say the last piece really good. So he said the people turn from me, and what did he say at the very end? I love it.
I will by no means exalt.
Do you see it? Does that bother you? Because it should, right? It bothers me. See, when I turn my faithfulness into something else, and we will look at and we will focus on saying, well, my faith needs to be here. Whatever that power, whatever that Assyria is for you, whatever gives you that comfort in this world, we put our faith there. We may be worshiping God, and maybe our speech, and maybe because we show up and we put our pretty clothes on, but he's saying, I want full heart, mind, and soul. Are you in? Right? He says, I want to know your faithfulness. I want to know where you put your faith and your trust. What is your focus, right? And then it comes to the end of that, and then he says, and I'm not going to exalt you. Because why? You haven't exalted me. We don't have this relationship. You put me to the side. Something has replaced me. An idol has replaced me. So I can't exalt you. Does that bother you? What are you thinking when you hear those words? From God. I'm thankful for Christ, yeah. Self-evaluation? I like it. What kind of self-evaluation are you talking about? Not just...
Well, I mean, just taking a quick overview of your life. Does this apply to you? How? Where? What do you need to clean up?
Good. It's that moment of stop and saying, okay, am I right here with him?
Do you know what the Greek meaning for exalt is? I don't.
It's Hebrew, but I don't...
Okay, well, whatever.
Somebody have a cell phone?
Anybody know what that is? Because when we think of exalt, what's the I kind of come at it in a level, yes, we're supposed to exalt God, but because I'm not, you don't exalt me, I'm not going to exalt you. I mean, what does that mean when he says, I'm not going to exalt you? Why would God need to exalt us?
Okay, I'm going to open it to the class. What does it mean that God will not exalt you or God will exalt you? Either side. What do you think exalt means?
I think in this context, you're going to be ashamed or you're going to be humiliated.
Okay. Raise you up. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? Excuse me.
Sway in the Mediterranean, Eastern Mediterranean.
Absolutely.
So they look at those glory days and say, well, we were exalted then and now we're not.
Yeah, and also, yeah, we're also on the tail end of all of that glory. I mean, the borders are as big as they've ever been. There's money, there's riches. The people are doing pretty good right now. Now we're on the tail end of that because when Assyria sees all the good stuff, well, I want that, and so Assyria is going to come in, and pretty much Israel will actually open the doors for that moment as well.
The Oxford Dictionary says
Oxford Dictionary.
that exalt means to hold someone or something in very high regard, or to think or speak very highly of.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
I suppose you could look at people and they're here on earth more spiritually. Here on earth, honestly, look throughout the Old Testament, see all the wars that have gone on. So by not exalting them, it could be that eventually they are going to be taken over by the Lord. Or if you want to go spiritually, you've got speaking highly of them spiritually, then that's bringing the name into life book or into the book.
Okay. Good. I think you guys are on the right page on that. I think it's the whole exalting is bringing them out of darkness and into relationship with God. And he goes, you can't have that relationship if you're living in a different way.
What world do you people think? Kind of arrogant, but anyway, it's fine. No, what was that? Make that.
Good job, class. Well done. All right. What's another thing that they lack? We got to move and groove. I'm going to help you on this one because we want to talk about this. one of the biggest things that you're going to find all the way through chapters 4 through 13, actually really through, we're going to look at 4, 6, and 8 is really going to hit on it hard, but their lack of knowledge, okay? The first one I want you to look at 4, chapter 4 and verse 6. That's kind of that key verse, at least for me, understanding the lack of knowledge. I'm going to read it, and it says this: "My people are destroyed," and we're going to talk about what it means to be destroyed today as well, briefly, but destroyed for the lack of knowledge, because you have rejected knowledge. I reject you for being a priest to me, and since you have forgotten the law of your God, I have also will forget your children. Woo! Right? That's hard. That's hard words. My people are destroyed. What does that word mean? Do you guys know? If you were here on Wednesday, Tim Myers did a fantastic job by describing what it means to be destroyed. Okay, I really don't want to give you the definition. It's in my sermon, but here you go. It means to be unrecognizable. Not just to hurt you, not just to put you down, not just to we think destroy like boom. It's to be unrecognizable. Like when you look, you will not be able to recognize, okay, yourself or who you are. So my people are destroyed. They're unrecognizable. And there's a reason for it, their lack of knowledge. Knowledge is coming from where? God. Now you have prophets like Amos, you do have Hosea, but they're really coming onto the scene. They're not really giving any new laws. They're coming onto the scene and saying, hey, God is saying, wake up and come back to him, right? And so and you can find some knowledge in the Psalms that they are singing and such, but this is the knowledge that they are walking away from. It's the law, the prophets, well, really the law and the Psalms. Why do you walk away from God? Why did they walk away from a knowledge of God? They prefer what other people had? Really good answer.
They were successful.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. I'm not vigilant anymore. I don't need God. I'm selfish.
There you go. Yes. And it really, that pride really comes forward when you're reading all the way through this. With your lack of knowledge of God, whose knowledge has to come in now? It's our knowledge. It's us and what I want. And you're right. We built something amazing. Look around. And why do I need to think about God? Look what we have built. That's really good. Anything else? What does the first, 6 to 9 chapters of Proverbs say about knowledge? You know stuff. You know. You sing it. There's devotional songs. What? Yep. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Good. Yeah, so that wisdom of man is like trash. The wisdom of God is way up here. Sought after. Yeah, even more than what? Do you guys remember? Gold or silver or any of those things. This knowledge, understanding who God is and how to serve this God is more precious than anything else that we actually put a lot of value in. He goes, there's no value other than him. Okay? That's really good. So they have rejected his knowledge. Rejected. Okay? And then he says here, I am also going to reject who? It starts not just the people. I want you to look at something else. Children, yes, at the very end. Move up just a tad in the verse. Priests. Why does he bring them into this? Because there's... Yeah, you should have known better. You're the ones. God literally set up, hey, where's the tribe of Levi's territory? Explain it to me. Where's the tribe of Levi's territory when all the different places are given to all the tribes? They don't have any. Why? So they're supposed to be the priesthood, right? You find that with Nicodemus, John the Baptist's daddy, comes in, when he's at the temple. He drew the straw, it's my turn. He goes to the temple and serves, right? And we have that whole cool story there. But you find the priests are supposed to be serving. The priests not only serve in the temple, they're not only supposed to take care of those things, the priests are designed to take care of the people. That's why they're spread out to all these cities so they can tell the law to the people. And he says, you're not doing your job. Does that preach to us? Because who are the priests today? Huh? We are. Oh, okay. What does that mean? And we're really spread out, right? We're in our entire world. We're in our workforce. We're in the school system. We're in everywhere. We're the priests. We're supposed to be serving God. Let's make sure we know the knowledge, right? So that we can serve God. Okay, I got a couple more verses. Already did verse 1. Good job, Monty. But I want to do another verse in here as well. Let me check my notes. Verse 2. Did you read verse 2, Monty? Hey, okay. Can you read 1 and 2 together? They're going to go together. Yeah, chapter 4, 1 and 2. It's perfect.
There is no faithfulness, no love, no knowledge of God in the land. There is only cursing, lying, and murder, stealing, and adultery. They break all bounds, and bloodshed follows bloodshed.
Oh, so let me ask you. So verse 1 says there's a lack of knowledge. Verse 2 says what? Huh? Sin. This is what happens when you don't have this relationship with God and you're not following God's law. Right? And if you look at these things, who does it hurt? Who do these things hurt? Other people. Right? According to verse 6, the next generation. Absolutely, right? But swearing, lying, murder, stealing, committing adultery, okay, bloodshed. You're doing this to other people. But how are we supposed to be treating people? In love. Love is and grace is in the Old Testament. Did you guys know that? It's actually there. I'm really, don't ever come to me and go, grace is a New Testament thing. I will get you, okay? Grace and love is in the Old Testament as well. And then we're not showing that to people because of lack of knowledge. Okay, I need to move on. Go to 6:3 and 6:6. Oh, 6:6 is so good. 6:3, somebody read it. And then somebody read verse 6.
Let us press on to him. As surely as the sun rises, he will appear. He will come to us like the winter rains, like the spring rains that water the earth.
Love it. Love it. Verse 6. Oh, this is a good one.
Their desires
Okay, do it again. Really loud. The air conditioning's on.
For I desire steadfast love and no sacrifice, the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings.
Come on, where's that from? You know it. What's he quoting from? It's another prophet. Huh? No? Well, yeah, I think Isaiah does, but there's another one. Just keep saying the prophets. You're going to get there one of them. Joel. You remember Joel? Remember we studied that? You remember how much of Joel is actually in the New Testament and they're quoting it from? Have you not heard that before in the New Testament? Yeah, you have. Who are they quoting? Joel. Who's Hosea quoting? Joel. And he's saying, I don't care about all these other things. I don't care about your sacrifice. I don't care about your little actions. I want your heart, right? I want you. And I desire this instead of all those things. Let me find that verse. I don't want to misquote here. For I desire love. Okay? Anybody there have mercy in their version? You have mercy? Hey, that's okay. It's really good stuff there. I desire love or mercy. I don't desire sacrifice. The knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings. I want you to know me than going through the motions of knowing me. That's lack of love. Okay, 8:12. Somebody read 8:12 for me. 8:12.
For I write for him my laws by the 10,000, they will be regarded as strange things.
Oh, that's good. Who was that? That was really well done. Okay, Verse 11, I want to start in verse 11, okay? You did great on verse 12. Because Ephraim, remember, little more close relationship here, has multiplied altars for sinning. Going back to what you guys said, you walk away from lack of knowledge, you go towards the sinning. Chapter 4, 1 and 2. They have become to him altars of sinning. For I write to them my laws by the tens of thousands. They will be regarded as a strange thing. As for my sacrificial offerings, they sacrifice meat and eat it, but the Lord does not accept them. Now he will remember their iniquity and punish their sins. They shall return to Egypt. Literally, figuratively. Egypt part. Figuratively, what is he talking about? Within Egypt, they were slaves. Good job. They were slaves. He goes, you're going back. Who's coming? Assyria's coming. We see it coming into the future. Okay? And so he says to them, but man, do you see verse 12? He goes, I can write all the laws. I can write thousands and thousands of laws and put them in front of you and say, this is what I want you to do. And you go, I don't care. Man, wow, right? Okay. Lack of faith, lack of knowledge, lack of anything else? Can I hit repentance next week? How about... All right. You guys know this. This is not chapters 4 through 13. This is chapters 1 through 3, right? So explain that. Some of you guys weren't here last week, chapters 1 through 3. How do we know that they had a lack of love for God? Chapters 1 through 3. You know the story that happens there. I'll start you. Hosea, God comes onto the scene. He tells Hosea, I want you to go marry Gomer, the next child that we're going to have in here is called Gomer. And so what does she do for a living? She's a prostitute. How many times is whoredom said in the book of Hosea? 18. That's a lot. And they use the word, in ESV, they use the word whoredom. I don't know what you guys have in your book. But then he takes this wife. He has how many kids? 3, again, blessings of names for your children of the future. And then they just describe, each child describes how God feels about his people. Then we go after that, what does she do? What does Gomer do? She leaves. And then in chapter 3, what is God asking him to have Hosea do? Go buy her. How much money? 15 shekels and a little bit of barley. That's about it. And so he buys her back. Okay? So tell me, their lack of love for God from chapters 1 through 3, how can you see that they were lacking a love for God demonstrated through that story, chapters 1 through 3? He's allowed to make as much noise as he wants.
They had everything that they needed. They were protected, they were loved, and it still wasn't good enough.
Yeah. So you had this incredible relationship. If you look at Gomer, she's not perfect. Look at me. I'm not perfect, right? But God says, I'm going to welcome you into this relationship. I'm going to be the husband. You are going to be the bride. You see that in the Bible anywhere? I'll answer. Yes. Okay? You see that relationship all the way through. You see family relationship. And he says, I'm going to enter into this. We're going to have a covenant, but you're going to break the covenant, right? Because you have a lack of love. Sometimes we don't always understand what we have within our relationship with God through Jesus Christ. We take it for granted, right? And you look at those names and you just kind of go, oh my goodness, why would she walk away? Why would she walk away from a great situation? Guess what? I do it all the time too. We all fall short sometimes. And I have to check myself in my life once in a while and just say, what are you doing? Why are you following this? You know better. Do this and follow God instead. Okay? And so that you find that. We need to move and group. I want to hit a little bit more. Go to chapters, John, chapter 11. Can I get somebody to read 1 through 4? Chapter 11, 1 through 4. Oh, is that not incredible imagery of God and how in our relationship? What's he using for the imageries? You read that whole thing. What was the first thing that came to your mind? I didn't say anything wrong, did I? Oh, you're working today. I forgot. Sorry. What's the imagery? It's a child, but a child with what? A parent, right? So what does that parent do? Look through it really fast. Tell me really fast. We have a couple minutes. Go ahead. Huh? Taught him to walk. Do you remember those days? Holding them by the fingers? Oh, those are fun days, right? I'm so glad those days are gone in my life. I love them when they're big. They can walk on their own. Okay, but they had to figure out how to walk. Well, the parent helped them figure out how to walk. You encouraged them. You got them to do it. You gave them the confidence. You told them they were going to be okay. And at some point, they let go of your fingers. And guess what they were able to do? They could walk. Wobbly, and they could walk. And because you were there as a parent. Okay, give me something else. Come on, quick. They healed them. I love that. You ever put a Band-Aid on a boo-boo? Ever put magic lotion on the boo-boo and there's really nothing there? I'm like, oh, this magic lotion, you're going to be okay. And like, I'm okay. And you ever done it? You heal them physically and spiritually. As a parent, spiritually, you're healing them as well. You're part of that connection to God. All right? But he said, I'm going to heal you physically and spiritually. Give me another one. Nice and loud, guys. I'm sorry. Feed them, okay? They're feeding, nourishment. Goes back to Psalms 1, right? Don't you want to be the tree planted by the waters to have nourishment? So my leaves and the fruit that I produce is going to be godly, right? So nourishing them, that is the parent's responsibility. Okay? Anything else? Yeah, there's nothing. You know, the bond, it's absolutely incredible. The bond between child and parent when they're infants. When you hold them close, when you talk to them, and you hold them and you're just right there, man, that baby knows who their mama and daddy are. I love hearing the story of my son right now, and my grandson gets upset when my son has to go to work. Because when he comes home, he's like, Dad, like all he wants is me. I was like, yeah, it's called fatherhood. Welcome. You know, this is what we do. And I go, for the next 20 years, they'll want more out of you, like your money, right? So, but there's that bond. There's that connection. If you know their voices, you trust their voices, you want to be with them, right? Because you know this is security. This is where I know I'm safe. A child, an infant, a young child knows where they're safe, and they're always safe in their parents' arms, right? Or should, right? Anything else in there that I've forgotten and haven't seen?
Lift the yoke from their neck and down the feet.
Yeah, to lift that yoke. Yeah,
So like,
there you go. It's by example, right? And God gives us all those examples to do. Jesus does a phenomenal job for us. You know, he says, follow me. You know, come to me, follow me, you know, and then you can go into the future. So God gives us those examples. Absolutely incredible, right? And you can see that they're lacking this. They're not following this anymore. One other thing I thought about when we're talking about lack, and we don't have time to really talk about this now, but there's a huge lack of leadership. They're lacking leadership. And I wish I could, I wish we had more time on this one. Maybe we'll pick it up next week and then we'll go into chapter 14. We're going to just spend time there by itself. But there's no leadership. When you lack spiritual leadership, I do not care about everything else. You lack everything. Y'all hearing me? Young parents, young families, I don't care if you have grandkids. This is all ages. When we lack spiritual leadership, everything else doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your kids have the best job and they've got money and they have everything they're supposed to be doing and they can pay for their bills and you have a good relationship with them at Christmas. It's spiritual leadership. And it comes down to one generation teaching the next generation. Do you remember what you brought up several times? And you brought it up, that when we have a lack of faithfulness, knowledge, a love for God, and a lack of leadership, it's the next generation that suffers the most. There's more and more of a gap of a relationship between God if we are not doing our job within that. You with me? Okay? And so the lack of spiritual leadership is found all the way through. It hits the priests, it hits the kings. And you know what? It's not just their fault. It's everyone's fault because they're heads of families, and it's their fault as well. We good? That was a tough one. Sorry to end off on a no, but there we are. But next week, we're going to look at chapter 14. Will you please read chapter 14? We're going to look at how God wants to bring people back. And I wish we had another hour so we didn't end on this. We could have ended on a very positive note, but next week is going to be a great week. Hey, I need a favor. I need somebody to teach for me on the 22nd. So if you want to teach for me on the 22nd, will you come up and tell me, or I'll just designate you? Your call. Either way. You do not have to do prophets. If you just want to do a lesson, that's fine, but we will be starting Micah when that happens. And so maybe you can give that introduction to Micah. It doesn't have to be long, just need to do it, okay? Need help on that. So July the 22nd, if you're in town. 20th? 20th? Let's say 20th. Oh, I'm flying home on the 22nd. That's why it's in my head. Sorry, my bad. 20th. So if you want to show up on Tuesday and do a class too, that's fine. But yes, the 20th, if you can do the class, let me know. Okay, God bless. Go get your babies.